from 13 to 28 I tell everybody I was a lost soul. Like I started using and abusing drugs and alcohol at a very, very early age. And it lasted all the way till I was 28 years old. And the drug that ultimately just crippled me was, and it's a drug that I said I never do. You'd see the crackheads walking the streets, and lo and behold, I put a pipe to my mouth and I couldn't put that thing down for five, almost 6 years. And everyone asked me, why'd you get clean? Or how did you get clean? And I had hit my bottom. You know, they say everyone has a bottom. And my bottom was literally either life or death. At 28, I was 135 pounds. I had been on an 8-day run of no sleep, lighting my pipe off of a gas burning stove. I had singed all my eyebrows, my eyelashes. I had blisters all over my face because I was so close to the flame. And this lasted for 8 days straight. And I saw so clearly that I was hallucinating at the time, but it was a very clear vision of I was either going to get right or I was going to go 6 feet under. And it was clear as day. So on October 8th of 2009, which I got tattooed on my knuckles, is the day I decided to start living and not die. And I have ever since then. So I got over 14 years clean and sober today. I don't do any mood or mind altering drugs. And I am forever grateful for the game of sales because it has changed my life. And when I say sales, I do all of my stuff virtually. I don't do face-to-face sales. So any business that I've been a part of or started for the last 14 years has all been over a telephone. And I've been ripping and running for 14 years at a pretty high level when it comes to building sales teams over a telephone.
You organically, it sounded like, built a sales team that turned into a call center business. Those are two, right? You're still selling a product and you're running the call center. So what was that like?
It was, man, for me, it was that drug. It was that sober drug I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because the first time I walked into a call center, I actually, while I was living in a halfway house, I am heavily tattooed from the neck down to my ankles, like damn near completely full. And I was having a hard time getting a job when I got out of treatment. And I almost was forced. I was very limited. So there was a piece of paper hanging on the door of my halfway house that said telemarketers wanted for $15 an hour. And that piece of paper was my in to a call center. And there was 2 guys that ran this company. And when I walked in for the interview, there was like 200 plus people on the phones. And I was like, I got chills as soon as I walked in and I was like, holy shit, I see people that look like me. They talk like me. They walk like me. I saw tattooed guys and I'm like, I think I can fit in this environment. And so I worked at that company for a year and a half and became their number one guy. And I always tell the story of I wasn't their number one guy because I was the most talented person in that room. I had just come from the bottom. Like I was knocking on death's door. So for me, like I was climbing I was the wolf climbing the hill. Like, so I was hungrier than everybody in that room and I just outworked them all. And then once I could get skill and I could put that with work ethic, you take those 2 things, skill and work ethic, you're a dangerous human being.
Huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you were doing this call center, man, and you had the hunger, you had the skill, you had the passion. What were you guys calling on? Let's just start there because I worked in the call center when I was in college, man, and we were selling like Omaha steaks and stuff like that. Wasn't the most passionate thing to call about, but I did the job. So what were you guys selling?
Yeah. So I was in a part of the company where they would test pilot campaigns. So I got real early in my career of being on the phones. I got to switch a lot of campaigns. So I had to pick it up quick. So we did ADDICT home alarm systems where we would get appointments for people to go out to their homes. We did debt repair, debt consolidation. I did auto warranties. There might have been one more. I thought there was 5 of them,
Okay.
but that's 4 different campaigns in a matter of a year and a half. And I excelled at all of them. So
Okay.
I got to cut my teeth on trying something new often in the very beginning.
So I'm pretty sure you got used to the word no, right? Or just hang-ups, stuff like that. How did you get over the psyche of that rejection and everything like that? Because that's one of the things when people start getting into real estate investing or wholesaling, they always say you got to get on the phone, but then they start getting that rejection and they start feeling bummed out. How did you overcome that?
That's a really good question. And you're actually probably one of the first people to actually ask that question. And it's super important because you're going to hear that word way more than you're going to hear the other one, which is yes. And for me, I had the pleasure of my very first shot of being in a call center just so happened to be a massive one. So like I had guys around me that were able to let me know what I was up against before I was ever even up against it. And they would tell me, they're like, listen, the whole cliche, the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. Well,
Right.
that's as true as it gets though.
Yeah.
As long as you keep going. So for me, how did I get through it? Listen, in the beginning, I was hungry. I was a hungry dude. And when I say hungry, I was literally hungry. So I knew prior to jumping into call center, I went from job interview. I don't know how many job interviews I went to, but I was denied by all of them because of my appearance. So when I got a shot on the phones, like I knew I had to make this work. Like in my mind, there was no plan B for me. I'm like, everyone else is telling me I'm unemployable. This guy's saying I got a shot. So what I did, and I shit you not, you're saying, how did you be okay with no's? I was a student of the game the day I walked in there. I would go home at night, I shit you not, with my scripts, my objections, my rebuttals, everything. And I would memorize these things until I couldn't get it wrong. Like I was a student to the game where I was like, I have to make this work. And for the first time in my life at 28 years old, being the first commission job I'd ever taken, I was like, this is all up to me to write my own paycheck. So I was really big back then and today and train to where you can't fuck it up.